Hello everyone, welcome to Connecting Minds. I'm Dr. Viswanath M. Aluru. In this conversation, we're going to have a deep discussion with AT&T CEO John Stanky. This is an imagined dialogue. I engage in a thoughtful, in-depth conversation with John Stanky, the current chairman and CEO of AT&T. The conversation mainly draws on his publicly shared perspectives from recent interviews and statements while exploring hypothetical extensions into the future of telecommunication. In a world where data is the new oil, we sat down with John Stanky at AT&T to decode the code of tomorrow. This is a imaginative conversation between me and AT&T chairman John Stanky, powered by Grok AI. From blistering speeds to AI smartphones in your pocket, let's plug in. So my first question is, as we look forward to the horizon of telecommunications in 2025 and beyond, AT&T has been aggressively expanding its 5G and fiber networks. My question was, what was the biggest transformation in the industry over the next decade, especially in handling exponentially growing data volumes and achieving unprecedented speeds? Let's see what Grok AI has to say about Mr. John Stanky's vision. According to Grok AI, we are at a pivotal moment where connectivity isn't just about faster downloads. It's going to be the backbone of everything from AI to global economies. According to Grok at AT&T, their strategy is built on scaling fiber infrastructure to support massive data flows. They're also aiming to pass 50 million locations with fiber optics by the end of the decade. Because AI applications, they demand low latency, high bandwidth networks that can process petabytes of data in real time. Okay, so think about it. The edge computing and distributed AI models will require networks that can handle speeds beyond 100 gigs per second per user in very dense urban areas. The future isn't just 5G. According to Mr. Stanky, it's open RAN architectures and satellite integration to ensure seamless coverage even in highly remote areas. The challenge here is the sustainability, investing in energy efficient technology to manage the power draw from these high volume data streams without overwhelming the power grid. That's really fascinating to know how they're actually building these highly sustainable network technologies without overwhelming the grid. On that note, so processing high data volumes at a blistering speeds sounds like it could redefine industries. But how is AT&T preparing for the surge in data? As you see, there's tons and tons of data coming from either IoT devices or autonomous systems like autonomous vehicles, immersive AR VR experiences. How is telecommunication companies like AT&T they're handling this situation, and whether there are any bottlenecks or security threats in this hyper connected world where the data is coming from everywhere. Let's see what Grok has to say about John's vision in this regard. According to Grok, Mr. Stanky thinks that the data explosion is inevitable, with projections showing global data creation hitting 180 zettabytes by 2025. And the data explosion is going to double every few years afterwards. So, how they're tackling this data explosion is by means of AI optimized network orchestration, which means the machine learning algorithms they predict the traffic patterns and they dynamically allocate the bandwidth. That is what it means by AI optimized network orchestration. For instance, the 5G standalone core allows for slicing the networks into virtual segments tailored to specific uses. For example, ultra reliable low latency for autonomous vehicles, or massive machine type communication for IoT device data, those kind of things. But when it comes to security, Mr. Stanky thinks that security is non-negotiable. So how they're tackling this issue, especially with the security, is by embedding zero trust models and quantum resistant encryption models to protect against any kind of cybersecurity threats. We talked about the bottlenecks in actually implementing this high data volume. Mr. Stanky thinks that these bottlenecks are opportunities that come in the way. So they're collaborating with chip makers in order to push silicon photonics for faster optical switching, potentially hitting terabit per second throughputs in core networks. So that's really interesting, fascinating to learn how AT&T is actually innovating in this field. Let's switch our gears and talk a little bit about consumer devices. As you know, these AI applications are emerging every day, and the role of AI in revitalizing the smartphone industry. For example, the iPhone supercycles seem to be waning without groundbreaking features. So, how a telecommunication company like AT&T is envisioning these AI integrated devices like smartphones evolving in the future, and what does that mean to the carriers like AT&T in terms of network demands and user experiences? Let's see what Grok has to say about Mr. Stanky's vision about AI devices in the future. So according to Grok, uh, the days of hardware alone driving massive upgrade cycles are over. So AI is going to be the game changer. Stout, bold moves in software development and software advancements and innovation, even iconic devices like iPhone, not going to spark the same excitement in the future. Imagine the phones that are going to anticipate your needs, or real-time language transcription, or predictive health monitoring via on-device AI, or seamless integration with your smart homes or with your vehicles. These are the kind of things that we can expect in the near future. According to John at AT&T, they're partnering with phone makers or device makers to ensure their networks support these features. For example, edge AI processing to offload heavy computations, reducing latency to sub-milliseconds. What does this mean to carriers? This could drive a new wave of adoption, but it requires the carriers to invest in AI-driven spectrum management to handle the data deluge from always on and context aware AI applications. Ultimately, so it's about creating ecosystems where the phones, they're not just on the communication devices anymore. They're actually intelligent companions that are going to enhance our productivity, are going to enhance the personalization. I think this is fascinating to learn about how AT&T is innovating and partnering with chip makers and telephone makers in order to push these AI boundaries. Another important challenge globally is the data communication faces hurdles like regulatory fragmentation or geopolitical tensions and unequal access. I was wondering, how does AT&T plan to navigate these for truly seamless international connectivity? Let's see what Grok AI has to say about Stanky's vision on global data communication. According to Grok, the global data flow is the lifeblood of any modern society, but it's correct that it's fragmented by borders and policies. That's why they are leaning into long-term bets like expanding subsea cable networks and integrating with low Earth orbit satellites, like for example, partnerships with companies like AST SpaceMobile, are key to bridging the digital divide. For AI integrated experiences, this means enabling cross-border data roaming with minimal friction, using blockchain technology for security, compliant data sharing. Geopolitically, AT&T are advocating for open standards to avoid any silos, ensuring that high-speed global communication support everything from remote work to international AI collaborations. Again, sustainability key here: green data centers and efficient routing to minimize carbon footprint. In essence, AT&T is repositioning itself for building resilient, scalable infrastructure that powers a connected world, not just a connected nation. So, the AI is actually blurring the lines between telecommunication and tech giants. The question is, do they foresee evolving into more of like an AI based platform rather than a telecommunication company? For this, according to Grok, John Stanky's vision is the connectivity is the foundation, but AI infusion is going to allow to offer more value added services like intelligent network analytics for enterprises. The future ultimately is going to be highly collaborative, where telecommunication companies are going to partner with AI leaders or chip makers or smartphone makers, that the data moves freely and securely across the globe. From data deluge to AI companies, the wires of tomorrow, they're already humming. And thank you for joining today in order to hear these insights powered by Grok AI from John Stanky. So, what is your take on the connected future of telecommunication? Please feel free to comment. And ultimately, the goal is to co create solutions ensuring data moves freely and securely across the borders, across the globe. This is a fictional dialogue, but it is highly grounded in Mr. John Stanky's real-world insights and AT&T's strategic direction. Once again, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all again in another conversation on Connecting Minds. Thank you.